Hello everyone, welcome to the Cottrell Farm. I'm Mayor Owen Henry. Today we're going to talk about the past, the present, and the future of this site as a township. We're very excited about what's going to be happening on this property over the next few years. Today is going to be informational. We're going to talk about the history of the property, what's being planned as we speak, and what the future holds. So we have a lot of people that are going to be on talking about the Cottrell Farm. So let's go. Well, the history is it's been here a long time. A lot longer than a lot of residents in town. One of the original farms in the township, the Cottrell, was a big apple orchards from here. They made apple whiskeys. There was a big distillery on site. It's been here a long time. The Cottrell family is one of the older families in town, going way back. I believe the house is way over 100 years old. So it's been here a long time. And it's always been a focal point of anyone driving by here on 516. It's always noted as right across from the police station, the house across from the police station. It's a house with a lot of history. A lot of things went on in here, in this house. So that's why it's so important that we keep it. I don't know what year it was, but at some point in time, someone had purchased the property from the Cottrells, and they had planned, being this is the town center zone, they had planned to develop this property. Not only the house, but behind it, there's a lot of acreage on this land, this farm. And they were granted approval because they met all the requirements of the town center zone. They were going to preserve the house, they were going to preserve the outbuildings, but behind it was going to be a commercial and a large residential. And at the time, I believe the township and the residents spoke up and said, that's not what we want here on the Cottrell farm. We want it to remain a farm. So the township, at the time, I believe it was Mayor Jimmy Phillips, cooperated with the county, the state, and anyone who would listen that this land needed to be preserved. So they negotiated with the owner, developer, who owned the property, and they worked out a price, and the township, the county, the state, and some other organizations purchased the property. The county has been the main driving force with the property, had some contamination from the apple trees over on the right over here. That was taken care of. So now we've been given the stewardship of this property by the county, and now we're responsible for it. And as you know, we have some really great plans for this piece of property. Make everybody everybody in Old Bridge a better quality of life by having a place to come to and spend some time.
Well, you heard the mayor before state that we entered into a management agreement with Middlesex County, and that required the township to then maintain the property and also to be part of the development. We're now spearheading that development. In summer of 2017, once that management agreement was signed with Middlesex County, the mayor and the business administrator came to the engineer, myself, and the former township planner, Katie O'Kane, and they charged us with coming up with a conceptual plan for the preparation of a passive and active recreational park for our community. They wanted to give back something to our community. We used that request for proposal and our conceptual plan, and we distributed it to firms that were among our list of professional consultants that were pre-approved at the beginning of every year. As part of that, we had submitted the conceptual design, and the two firms that had been awarded the project, one was French and Perlo Associates with the lead architect Michael Piga, and secondary landscape architect Sarah Biseo, who's also a professional planner. The architect for the building was EI Associates manager architect Ruben Garrido, who's been retained by Old Bridge Township to perform the design and then the rehabilitation of the buildings. Well, early on when we were preparing the conceptual plan, Tom Babcock, our own recreation department head, who has since retired, had come up with ideas for the park itself. The mayor and the business administrator had put in their ideas, but ultimately when the proposal went out and we had retained our professional services, we had developed a steering committee meeting. And that steering committee members included our mayor, our business administrator, our Department of Emergency Management, our police department, also two members of council, along with members of our planning board, also our fire marshal, Department of Public Works. Included in that was also our Department of Recreation director, as well as Middlesex County Department of Recreation. With that, we also included members from Green Acres, because this project is Green Acres funded.
Before I talk about financing of this project, I just want to say why am I excited about this project? Because the township has many active recreation facilities, the sports base, but this would be one of the passive recreation facility that can be enjoyed by all ages of the residents of the township, whether they're playing any sports or not. And that's what excites me about this facility. Talking about financing of this project, we want to thank Middlesex County for being a great partner in acquiring this. The acquisition cost was significant, and the county open space contributed a large sum along with the Township Open Space Trust Fund. Last year, Township incorporated $500,000 in their capital project, 2017 capital project, to fund the initial funding to develop this conceptual plan and engineering design. Obviously, there's still funding available through that, and our goal is to now, going forward, for the development of the project, incorporate in our 2019 capital project, as well as we're seeking further assistance from our partner from Middlesex County Open Space Trust, as well as we're planning to apply with the Green Acres for funding, and then we're going to continue to look for outside corporate donations, private donations to develop this park. I think when it gets done, it will be a great facility for the township.
Well, the existing building, especially the farmhouse, is a nice example of early 1900 colonial revival architecture, and it's actually built on foundations that date as far back as the 18th century. So, we're trying to maintain as many of the historical elements as possible. For example, the exterior wood trim, the windows, the doors as much as possible, the interior wood moldings, and the existing glazing, which is very special. There's even some special etchings from the 19th century on there as well. So we want to maintain that as much as possible. In addition to that, we also plan on, whenever something has to be replaced, it'll be replaced with elements that are reproductions that are very similar to the existing historic elements. So in addition also, we're also planning on not changing much of the configuration of the existing building. The interior walls will remain mostly intact. The only changes that will be made will be to provide accessibility into the building, an accessible entrance, for example, as well as accessible toilets. In order to limit expenses for the design of these buildings, because they do require a lot of work, because they have been left untended for quite a while, we plan on limiting the seasons for which the buildings will be used. Some of the buildings will only be used in the summer, some may be used spring and fall as well, but that will limit the heating and air conditioning costs that will be needed. In addition, as mentioned before, we plan on reusing as much as possible, restoring rather than replacing existing building elements. Another factor would be a lot of the work can possibly be done by the township staff or township maintenance staff. It's just simple things that can be done. And another way would be also to phase the work. It's possible that you can do a lot of the work now and maybe phase some of the stuff over the next few years.
The main features that we've included in the design of the Cottrell Park is a splash park, a playground, and we have a great lawn that we have over there. We will have an amphitheater and a couple other amenities up in the front, which are like sidewalks and walkways. We're going to extend the walkway along the frontage to match up with the existing one at the Municipal Hall. We're looking at placing in new plants and landscaping, providing additional driveways and parking so that people can come here and utilize the structures and the existing buildings. And that's what we have done.
The main emphasis on preserving is to keep a lot of the existing features. The existing buildings are going to remain and be restored. We have identified heritage trees on the property that we feel are worthwhile saving, so the design is going to be integrated to preserve as many as possible. And finally, we want to integrate all the items in with the beautiful apple orchards that are in the background. We want to preserve that because I think that's what most people recognize Cottrell Farm as being part of.